Hey everyone, I'm going to do a review of the new Player of the Week selection. I'll get straight into it. I'll start with the lowest rated player. We've got Skorupski, 4-star goalkeeper. He's not too bad as a shot stopper. Goalkeeper awareness and reflexes both decent. Parrying as well, so he's going to get the ball away from dangerous areas when he parries it. A little bit lacking with the catching, the jumping, so he might be a bit susceptible to crosses and high balls into the area. His reach isn't brilliant as well, so when it comes to those long range curlers, your opponent's curling into the far corner, you might get found out a bit. So I guess that's why he's a 4-star keeper, not a 5-star. But if you're ever desperate for a keeper anyway, because the only one you got with form, you could certainly do your job. Next up, the other 4-star player we got this week, got Kyogo. Now Kyogo hasn't really changed much from his base card, but the one thing that has changed is they put his passing up a bit. That's a fairly considerable increase on what you get from his base card. So he's an interesting option, Kyogo. You know, his offensive awareness and finishing are pretty good. He's rapid as well, got good balance. He's a bit lacking with his technique. You know, on the ball, he's not going to be brilliant at holding the ball up or carrying the ball. But if you just want a good poacher, he's going to make good runs in behind. He's got good pace. You're going to feed him with through balls. Certainly, he's a very decent option. And next up, we have Berghuis. Berghuis from Ajax, interesting one because he's a very creative player. They've got him as a prolific winger to play wide right, but he's not the quickest. What they've done with Berghuis, skill-wise, they've added one-touch pass, which is very interesting. So when I look at that lack of pace there, and you look at his positions, if they've given him one-touch pass, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to be better through the middle, and he can play through the middle. So as an attacking midfielder, when you look at his abilities, you know, offensive awareness is very good. He's got good control and dribbling. His passing isn't actually that great. 82 for low pass, I think, is a little bit on the low side. But very good finishing. And if you look at his skills, some good skills there. It would be nice if he had long range. Oh, he does have long range curler. Forgot about that. Interesting. So finishing 85, curl 86. This guy's got a deadly shot on him, to be honest. He's also got long range shooting on top, first time shot, one touch pass, and through passing and pinpoint crossing. So plenty of product with him. The low pass still concerns me a little bit, but having one touch pass on this version of Berghuis certainly compensates a bit for that. So yeah, he's an interesting card. I think you've got to see him as an attacking midfielder with that lack of pace. But yeah, and they've boosted his passing, his shooting, and his physical contact from his regular card. So especially with that physical contact getting boosted, a lot more capable of playing in the centre. So he's an interesting one, Berghuis. And next up we have Di Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo, again, not a lot of change from his regular card, but the one key change they've made is he's a defensive fullback this time. And that will appeal to a lot of people. He's got a pretty good selection of skills for a defender. I would like acrobatic clearance, but beyond that, it's a pretty good selection. He's got pretty decent pace, good defensive skills down the middle. He's not brilliant on the ball, but if you want a defensive option, as I say, he's a defensive fullback now. So if you want a defensive fullback who really is defensive, he's going to stay back, he's going to be solid against whoever your opponent's got on that wide left position. Good stamina as well. Could be a very interesting option. And then another right back, we got Molina from Atletico Madrid. Now, this guy, again, they've not really changed much. It's pretty similar to what you get from his base card if you max him out. The one thing they've changed is they've given him first time shot, which, let's be honest, is not going to be a great deal of use for a right back. He's got pinpoint crossing, interception. He's quick, good stamina, but the thing is, for me, defensive awareness 71, that's the killer for me. He's not bad, but when you're playing competitively, your opponents have got, high rated players playing wide left. That for me is a little bit scary, 71. I really would like that to be much higher for a fullback. Good crossing, decent enough on the ball, and like I say, he's quick, he's mobile, but I just don't think he's quite strong enough really as a fullback. And then next up, we've got Chukwueze. I've probably said that wrong. From Villarreal, scored 2 goals away to Real Madrid. This is this is an interesting one because he's lacking with product. They have put his shooting up a bit, to be fair, and his offensive awareness is up as well. But that passing is terrible, and the finishing at 74 is still not the best. So if you want a guy who's great at dribbling, is quick, sure, he could be your guy. You know, you look at his dribbling and the offensive awareness again, looking great over there. The speed and acceleration, great, good balance. But you know, what kind of product does he have? You're not going to be playing many deadly through passes with him, that's for sure. Finishing 74, curl 74, long range curler. So yeah, maybe he can finish when if you're playing him wide right, you get him into the box and you set him up for relatively straightforward opportunities. He can finish them, I guess. You know, he's got long range shooting as well, but again, I would just be concerned about his end product with the finishing not being great, and don't ask too much of him with passing because he just cannot pass. But yeah, and they've made him a prolific winger. He's normally a roaming flank, so he's not going to roam inside quite as much. He's going to stay out wide more as a prolific winger. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, looks like a fun player, dangerous with his pace, but I just question this guy's end product. This guy, on the other hand, does have end product. He's got very decent passing. Eze is a really interesting card. They've made him a centre midfielder, and he's a whole player. Whole player with 82 offensive awareness. That's really interesting. So offensive awareness has been boosted. Passing as well. He's quicker than his regular card, quite significantly, I think. And physical contact is up a bit, so more suited to playing centre mid. I still would see him as an attacking mid. He can't defend, really. You know, they're not the worst defensive stats for a centre mid, but they're not great. So I think really making the most of the fact he's a whole player, you're looking at him as an AMF. Rapid, great balance as well. Stamina's decent, great on the ball. Passing's pretty good. If you look at his skill set, you've got to keep in mind he doesn't have through passing, so he's not going to have amazing passing ability in terms of carving open defenses. He's got first time shot that they've added to him. That's the skill they've given him. Pinpoint crossing I think is irrelevant because his lofted pass isn't great and he can't play wide right. It's not really going to come into the equation. I think really this is a guy who, if you like players you can dribble with, do your skills and your tricks, he looks like a lot of fun. He's not just technically able to do that to a high level, but he's rapid as well. And being a whole player with good offensive awareness, making those good attacking runs, he could be really dangerous. I would just say that, you know, without through passing, he's not going to have exceptional passing. Good, but not exceptional. Finishing 81 and first time shot, so he can finish chances. Doesn't have long range curler. But yeah, for me, this is probably the most exciting card in this pack. There's some very good ones we're about to come to, but yeah, this guy, not without, you know, concerns, but plenty of qualities, and he looks like a really fun card to have, so I would love if I got this guy. And then from Eze, we get to the Ligt from Bayern. What they've done with him, skill-wise, they've taken captaincy away, giving him long-range shooting. For me, that doesn't help. I would much prefer to have captaincy on him. And then in terms of his attributes here, they've essentially, from his base card, they've pulled his defensive ones down a little bit, and they've made him a little bit better on the ball. And that's basically it. That really is basically what you're getting from this Ligt card. He's a more offensive-minded centre-back, and he's not a captain anymore. So if that works for you, and it might do, great. It could be a really good card. For me personally, I've got his base card, and I prefer the base card to what they've done on this one, so it's not too exciting for me. And Luis Alberto from Lazio. Interesting one. They've made him an orchestrator. So in terms of his play style, he's going to be wanting to play deeper, but he can't defend. So I don't know if you're really going to want to play him deep in midfield. He doesn't have interception. He's just a very offensive-minded attacking midfielder, really. He's not the quickest, and he's not got great physical contact. So if you're playing him deep in midfield, that's concerning for me. I wouldn't want him having any defensive responsibilities. I want him in attacking positions. They've put his dribbling up a bit. His finishing at 77 is up a little bit, I think, as well. Offensive awareness appears to be a bit higher, I think, than his base card as well. and his balance, I think. And physical contact may be slightly higher, but still at 67 is not the best. So like I say, I would be playing him as an attacking midfielder. If he's going to be a CMF, you need at least one defensive midfielder behind him, maybe two, maybe an anchor man on the box-to-box, something like that, and give him that freedom so he doesn't have defensive responsibilities and he can get forward. But if you are playing him CMF with that play style of orchestrator, he won't get forward a lot. That's going to hold him back. So for me, I don't know if I'd really ever use this card. It's not a particularly interesting one to me. And then we get to the last two. Messi, as you'd expect, some very high stats here. Brilliant on the ball, brilliant passing. His lofted pass has been significantly boosted, and they've given him pinpoint crossing. Can't play wide left, so I guess that's going to be in swinging crosses from the right hand side. Offensive awareness has gone up a bit from his base card as well, I think, and finishing. 93 for finishing. Dangerous with curl 90 as well. Long range curler over here, so those curlers into the far corner, he's going to be dangerous. I think his stamina's up from his base card as well. But there's not much more you need to say about Messi. You know, they've made him a deep lying forward this time, which is not going to be too different to a creative playmaker, really. He'll probably make more attacking runs than a creative playmaker. But yeah, Messi deep lying forward, all kinds of end product over here. I think the real thing he's lacking is speed, to be honest. But you know, he's 35. It is what it is. It's still a very, very dangerous card. All kinds of end product. So yeah, great card. And then lastly, Kevin De Bruyne from Man City. De Bruyne, all they've really done with this guy in terms of his attributes, they're all pretty much the same as his base card, to be honest. There's nothing really different about any of his attributes. The one change they've made, though, he's a whole player, and that's very interesting. Good offensive awareness, whole player with end product for days, long range shooting, long range curler, one touch pass, through passing, and he's got pinpoint crossing if he drifts over to the right. Yeah, he's a bit lacking in terms of his speed and his mobility, but all that end product and making him a whole player when he's normally a playmaker. Yeah, if you like whole players, this guy could be absolutely deadly. So very interesting card there. So yeah, it's an interesting selection this week. Like I say, personally, Eze excites me the most. I think he's just a fun card. They've really given him quite a boost compared to his base card. You got some really potent players over the left, De Bruyne and Messi there. Some that I'm not so interested in, but it's an interesting selection. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully you found that interesting. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.